Welcome to Benny Stories, the home of timeless folk tales and powerful stories that inspire, teach, and entertain. If you love stories filled with wisdom, culture, and life lessons, then you're in the right place. Before we begin today's story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up so you never miss out on the magic of storytelling. Now, sit back, relax, and let's journey together into the world of today's folktale. Paris behaves differently at night, like a mirror that only reflects the beautiful. Rousseau Jewelers, a glass and marble temple on the Champs-Élysées, glows like it owns a moon. Paparazzi lights strobe the facade. Chauffeurs idle at the curb. An invitation-only crowd slides through a revolving door into a perfumed hush where money is a language, and everyone is fluent. Sofia Laurent moves through the showroom with practiced grace. 26, neat bun, fitted black dress, subtle jewelry, elegant, efficient, invisible until needed. She aligns a velvet tray by a fraction, checks an antitamper seal, then steps back to regard the star of the night, the Cur Eternal, a €5 million diamond necklace that looks like a promise no one can keep. Under UV balance light, the stones ignite, cameras flare, murmurs ripple. Perfect, Sofia whispers to herself, then straightens as her boss approaches. Damien Rousseau is exactly as the magazines describe him. Tall, sharp, immaculate. The heir who restored a fading family boutique into a luxury empire. In person, his colder, smile precise, eyes always calculating. He carries a scent of expensive cologne and something nervous beneath it. "Everything is in place?" he asks softly. "Yes, Monsieur Rousseau. Security checks complete. I did a second inventory 10 minutes ago," Sofia replies. "Good. Tonight has to be flawless." He studies her a half-second longer. "For both of us." The words land oddly. For both of us? She doesn't have time to puzzle them out. A French actress in silver cuccio floats to the necklace. An influencer live streams under the chandelier. Waiters glide with Dom Perignon like tuxedoed ghosts. Damien raises a glass for the press. "Friends," he says, voice hunted through the MIC. "Rousseau Jewelers has always believed a diamond is more than a stone. It's a memory that outlives us." Applause. Flashbulbs. Sofia exhales. In a side office, though, a phone vibrates on Damien's desk. 3 missed calls labeled unread collections, and a text from an unknown number. Midnight. No more delays. His jaw tightens. He thinks of Monte Carlo, the baccarat tables, the private loans when the bank said no. The interest terms were the kind you don't break without losing something you can't replace. He returns to the floor wearing his perfect mask. His plan is detailed, timed to the second, and dependent on one thing: the world believing what it sees. Or thinks it sees. Sofia, meanwhile, notices the small tells, Damien counting beats before he smiles, the head of security posted closer than usual, a second manager watching staff like a hawk. She tucks it away. Professionals observe. They do not dramatize. Elena Moreau, 70, elegant, cane like a conductor's baton, leans toward Sofia. "My day, your eyes say the necklace scares you." Sofia smiles. It's breathtaking and unforgiving. "A diamond never forgives," Elena says, amused. "Only humans pretend to." Sofia laughs politely as a bell chimes for the timed unveiling. A circle of guests tightens around the case. Cameras rise. Damien gestures to the spotlit pedestal. The Cur Eternal blazes. "Allah vie," he toasts. "Allah ruin," he thinks. Outside, a motorcycle idles. The rider checks his watch. Inside, time starts at slow collapse. The moment doesn't break. It snaps. A guest squeals. A man swears. Someone's champagne flute hits marble and rolls in an obscene curve. Sofia's eyes jump to the pedestal, then refuse a message, then race back. The case is open. The necklace is gone. Noise detonates. Security seals the doors. Panicked guests wave invitations like talismans. Sofia breath thins. She's already moving. Inventory lists in her head. Steps to the vault. Emergency protocol. Her hand reaches for the silent alarm she doesn't need, because security has already hit theirs. Damien is not panicking. He assumes a higher octave of control, palms down, voice calm, face compassionate. Please, stay where you are. We will resolve this. He turns to Sofia, performance sharpened to a stiletto. You were just at the case. It isn't a question. I was assisting Madame Delacourt with the sapphire set, Sofia says, pointing. The client nods, startled, mid-Instagram. Damien nods at a guard. Footage. In under a minute, a 4K feed fills the showroom monitor. The angle is unfortunate. A figure with Sophia's build leans over the pedestal, hand rising, something slipping into a pocket. The timestamp shows the exact minute of the unveiling. The room inhales as one organism. Sofia stares. She feels a surreal dissociation of a nightmare. I was on the other side of the room. I was. She looks to Madame Delacourt. You asked me to show you the sapphires. You. The client falters under the collective gaze. I did. But perhaps only moments. Enough, Damien says gently, tragically. Sofia, please, don't make this harder. Her heartbeat detonates in her ears. Monsieur, I didn't. 2 uniformed officers arrive, summoned by the silent alarm. The taller one addresses Damien. The shorter one reads Sophia's face like a script has seen before. The taller officer gestures to the screen. Damien narrates with sorrow. Sofia glances toward the ceiling camera, toward the case, toward her own hands that are shaking now. That is not me, she says, voice steadying with stubborn clarity. The timestamp is wrong. Or the angle. Or both. Is this your jacket? Damien asks softly. It is, her fitted black blazer with subtle satin lapel. On screen, the figure wears the same thing. Please come with us. The officer says. The cuffs are cold. Someone gasps. Paparazzi find the glass. Their lenses flare like bright, hungry eyes. Damien looks stricken, then nods once to his head of security, an almost imperceptible signal. The guard disappears toward the back hall that leads to the private loading bay. Elena Moreau taps her cane. I saw her 30 feet away when you toasted, she says to no one in particular. No one hears her. Sofia lifts her chin as she's escorted out. I didn't take it, she says, to the officers, to the glass, to the city. I didn't. Outside, the motorcycle peels away. Inside, Damien closes his eyes, counts to 3, and opens them to the crisis he engineered. Interrogation rooms obey a minimalist theology. 1 table, 4 walls, fluorescent pennants. Sofia wraps her fingers around styrofoam coffee she doesn't drink. Across from her, Commandant ledger pages through forms, unimpressed by drama. On the corner of the table, a laptop loops the incriminating clip. Access, motive, opportunity, ledger says. Salary versus temptation. The world is unequal. Sofia studies him. I'm not naive about inequality, Commandant. I'm also not a thief. He clicks the footage back to the 5-second sequence. Lean, pocket, turn. Grainy, yes, but suggestive. You deny that this is you. I deny that this is truth. I was with a client. There were phones everywhere. If you collect guest videos, you'll see me. Phones record what people intend to show, not what matters, he says. He leaves her with a form and the instruction to consider cooperation. When the door shuts, Sofia's hands finally tremble. Her mother will see this. Her younger brother will read this online at university and feel the smirks. Her manager group chat has almost certainly gone quiet and cold. She forces herself to inventory facts. Timed unveiling, her sign station at Sapphire's, Damien's composure, the door locks, the camera angle. She replays a moment she looked at Damien and felt, what? A message? A warning disguised as kindness? For both of us. The door opens. Mark Duval steps in, mid-30s, tailored charcoal suit, librarian's eyes behind rimless glasses. He places a card on the table. I'm your lawyer, he says simply. Sofia blinks. I didn't call anyone. You will later, he says, sitting. For now, pretend you did and let me help. I saw the news alert. This boutique loves pageantry. Law loves timelines. Tell me, minute by minute, where you were from 2005 to 2012. She breathes. She tells him, Madame Delacourt's sapphires, the server who almost tripped, the influencer who asked if the color eternal had a cursed history, the toast, the glance at the pedestal, the empty case. Mark listens without interrupting, then swivels a laptop. We'll pull the boutique's raw feed, not their curated display. We'll also request guest phone footage under a voluntary witness call-out. By morning, the clip on these tabloids will look less certain. Damien was so ready, Sofia says, like he anticipated the script. Mark notes it. Is under financial pressure, he says, as if dropping a coin. Rousseau's expansion loan was rejected in March. Bridge financing reportedly came from private lenders. Private lenders are impatient. Sofia's mouth goes dry. How do you know that? Because I read, he says, and because men like Damien leave footprints when they sprint. Ledger returns with forms. Mark folds his hands. My client will not sign anything tonight. We request her release on recognizance pending forensic review of the media. Release? Ledger snorts. You're confident. I'm correct. Mark says, mild as tea. Your footage has a timestamp discontinuity at 20 hours 8 minutes and 11 seconds. It jumps forward by roughly 3 seconds. The frame boundary is off. Interlaced artifacts suggest a splice. He turns a laptop. Ledger leans in despite himself. Sofia watches this man argue with the calm of someone who knows is speaking to the river, not the raft. She feels something quiet return. Not hope, exactly. Alignment. An hour later, she's processed and released under strict conditions. The street outside smells like late rain and exhaust. The press finds her, of course. She freezes for a half-second. Mark steps between her and the microphones. My client maintains her innocence. Evidence already being reviewed will corroborate that. He keeps walking. Say nothing else, he murmurs. They stop 2 blocks away under a neon pharmacy cross pulsing green. Sleep, then work, he says. Do you believe me? She asks. Suddenly, roll. Mark meets her eyes. Belief is irrelevant, he says. Evidence is everything. But yes, your story holds. Sofia exhales, and the city exhales with her. Somewhere in the 8th arrondissement, Damien watches a news segment replay the handcuff shot, pours whiskey over ice, and texts a number labeled H, on schedule. The internet metabolizes scandal like sugar. By morning, Rousseau highs trends above a ministerial resignation. Comment sections become juries. Thumbnails become verdicts. A gossip channel slows the footage to 25% speed with a red circle over Sofia's hand. Another overlays ominous music. Comment. She looked guilty when they cuffed her. Eyes never lie. Sofia deletes every app but messages. Even then, the notifications sting. A manager's "we're cooperating with authorities" email that reads like a sterilized obituary. A colleague's private text. I'm sorry. HR said not to contact you. Her mother calls. Voice shaking, promising prayers, and sending a photo of a candle burning in Madrid. Sofia almost breaks. Instead, she thanks her and changes the subject. Mark's office is quiet, walls lined with casebooks. He's already requested the boutique's raw camera files. He's already filed a preservation notice for all digital evidence. On his screen, code scrolls, a forensic tool pausing the video container. There, he says, tapping. Timestamp jitter and a missing GOP index. The file is not original to the device that claims to have produced it. English, Sofia says, managing a ghost of a smile. Someone exported the footage, edited it, then re-encoded it while preserving the overlay to look native. Mark says, it's a sloppy splice, but good enough for panic room. Who has access to the raw feed? Sofia asks. Head of security. IT manager. Possibly Damien. He signaled the head guard last night, she says, just after I was taken. Mark nods. Interesting. We'll need names. He has more. Screenshots of corporate registry filings showing Rousseau Holdings pledging inventory as collateral for a short-term, high-interest note. The maturity date? This week. The lender? A Luxembourg entity with a French intermediary known for creative recoveries. Damien isn't just arrogant, Mark says. He's cornered. Cornered men stage things. Sofia looks at her hands. He picked me because I'm visible but not powerful. He picked you because you're credible, Mark counters. A fall from grace sells better than a crook stumble. A soft knock. Claire, a junior associate from Rousseau, slips in, pale and jittery. I have 10 minutes, she whispers. HR will fire me if they find out. Sofia stands, startled. Claire. I saw something, Claire says, eyes brimming. 2 weeks ago, after close, Damien and Monsieur Laffit from security went into the vault. I thought it was a routine transfer, but the logbook shows no movement. And yesterday morning, Damien asked me to make sure you were assigned to the Sapphire Station for the unveiling. She swallows. He never cares about stationing. Mark's pen is already moving. Do you know who controlled camera access? Laffit, Claire says. And Damien's assistant, Camille. She handles the DVR exports for press requests. Mark thanks her, prints a witness statement template, and has Claire sign. She leaves like a ghost. Silence pools. Sofia presses fingers to her temples. We can prove this, she says. Less plea, more vow. We can, Mark says, but trials are theater. We also need a moment, a narrative turn the public can understand. What does that look like? An alibi you can hold in your hand. Sofia frowns, thinking through the white noise of sleeplessness. My brother, she says suddenly. We video chatted at the toast. He was teasing me about the dress code. I laughed and showed him the ceiling chandelier. It was exactly when Damien lifted his glass. Mark's head tilts. Time stamped. Always. He records everything for his vlogs. She's already texting. Matteo, need the screen record from last night. Exact time I called you at the boutique. Urgent. 3 dots. Then, sending the file. Mark smiled for the first time. Now we're in business. The courthouse smells faintly of Polish in history. A preliminary hearing, not a full trial, but the press treats it like a finale. Damien arrives with his legal team, the picture of wounded dignity. He offers the cameras a small, pained smile, the benevolent employee betrayed by misplaced trust. Sofia sits beside Mark, hands laced, face composed. Elena Moreau slips into the back row with her cane and a look that says she's seen men like Damien outlive their reputations and nothing else. The prosecutor opens crisply. Footage, access, motive. He frames the case as simple arithmetic. Damien's counsel follows with elevated sorrow. Mr. Rousseau took a chance on Ms. Laurent, he intones, and was repaid with theft. He clicks the remote. The damning clip fills the screen. Mark doesn't look at it. He watches the judge. Her eyes narrow at the timestamp overlay, a micro-gesture that lands like a seed. Your Honor, Mark says when it's his tone, we ask that the court view 2 pieces of evidence before forming an impression from a single, edited clip. Edited, the prosecutor says, bristling. Edited. Mark repeats mildly, handing up a brief and a forensic affidavit. He taps 2 lines. Timestamp discontinuity, missing keyframe index, re-encoding signature inconsistent with the boutique's DVR manufacturer. The judge glances, the prosecutor huffs, the gallery rustles. Mark gestures toward the screen as a technician, court-appointed and impeccably neutral, scrubs the clip and freezes on the splice. The judge leans forward. The room tilts. Then Mark nods to Sofia. My client was not at the case at the key moment because she was on a live video call with her brother in Madrid. He cues a second screen. A crisp recording plays. Matteo laughing. Sofia's voice low as she shows a chandelier and jokes about people who smell money, the reflective ceiling clearly mirroring Damien raising his glass at the precise second the necklace was supposedly being pocketed across the room. A phone overlay shows time, date, and geolocation from both ends. The gallery gasps. The judge's pen stops moving. Damien's lawyer stands. This proves nothing. The call could have been staged. Mark finishes pleasantly. We subpoenaed the carrier logs. They placed Ms. Laurent's device within Rousseau Jewelers during the exact call window, with packet route data consistent with live streaming. The boutique's internal Wi-Fi server logs corroborate device presence at the Sapphire Station access point. Additionally, he doesn't look at Damien. We will call a guest who remembers Ms. Laurent standing with her during the toast. Elena lifts her cane like a wand. That would be me, she says, voice stronger than her years. She smiles at Damien without warmth. I film everything for my granddaughter. Perhaps the court would enjoy my hobby. A hush falls as her clip plays. Guests laughing. A slow pan past a pedestal. Damien's profile crisp, the head of security on his earpiece. And, most damningly, a sliver of reflection in the case edge. A hand not Sophia's, heavier, slipping toward a velvet pouch. The timestamp syncs with a network clock. The prosecutor requests time. Damien blanches, then recovers. Barely. His jaw ticks. His gaze cuts to the gallery where two men in tailored anonymity watch without blinking. Creditors. The temperature in his spine drops. The judge clears her throat. Ms. Laurent will remain free pending further review. The court orders immediate seizure and forensic preservation of Rousseau jeweler security systems and servers. Counsel for the boutique will ensure full cooperation. Mark nods once. Sophia's shoulders fold with relief she refuses to show fully in public. As they rise to leave, Damien's mask slips for a fraction. True fear, hot and naked, before it cools into something harder. On the courthouse steps, microphones swarm. Mark keeps Sophia moving. A question slices the air. Sophia, what do you say to people who still think you stole it? She stops, measuring the risk, the narrative, the bite. Then she looks into the nearest lens and speaks evenly. I say the truth is patient, and it doesn't need your permission. The clip will travel farther than the accusation in the next 24 hours. Across town, a storage unit steel door rattles as someone shoves crates inside. A ledger flips. A text pings on a burner phone. Tonight, Dock 14. The game has moved off the showroom floor and into the dock, where diamonds look like debts and debts look like doom. Sophia doesn't know the details yet. She only knows a new angle has appeared, and the room is beginning to bend around it. Damien Rousseau's penthouse looks like a magazine spread. Glass walls, Italian furniture, skyline views. But beauty doesn't cancel dread. Two men sit in his living room, suits cut sharp, expressions carved from stone. Your payment is late, the taller one says. His accent carries Luxembourg steel. Damien pours whiskey he doesn't want. The situation is delicate. A theft disrupted my liquidity. The shorter man smirks. How unfortunate. You own a vault of jewels, yet you cannot pay. Damien tries charm. The authorities believe an employee stole the necklace. Insurance will cover it. Within weeks, I'll repay. The taller man leans forward. Insurance companies investigate. We do not wait. Midnight. Dock 14. Bring value. After they leave, Damien slams his glass into the sink. He sees his reflection in the cracked mirror, a man unraveling. He thinks of Sophia, the perfect scapegoat. Except now her lawyer's prying, and witnesses are surfacing. His plan is bleeding. Meanwhile, Sophia sits in Mark's office. He outlines Damien's creditors, his loans, his desperation. Men like Rousseau, Mark says, don't destroy employees by accident. He framed you to buy time. Sophia swallows. Time for what? Time to keep his enemies from taking everything, Mark replies. But they're circling, and the moment one crack shows, they'll push him over the edge. Claire, the timid junior associate, meets Sophia and Mark in a quiet cafe. Her hands tremble around her latte. I shouldn't be here, she whispers. But Damien, he scares me. Take your time, Mark says gently. Claire explains. 2 nights before the unveiling, she stayed late. She saw Damien and the head of security laugh at moving velvet pouches into a case. No logbook entry. No CCTV report. They wiped something. Mark's pen scratches notes. Could they have swapped the necklace? Claire nods. I think so. And yesterday, Damien told Camille, his assistant, to prepare the footage for review. I thought he meant media. Now I'm not sure. Sophia reaches across the table. Claire, will you testify? Tears brim. If I do, I'll lose everything. But, yes, because you don't deserve this. Mark leans back, calculating. That's corroboration. Enough to request forensic seizure of Rousseau's servers. If Damien tampered, we'll prove it. But Sophia sees Claire's fear. She realizes Damien's reach is long. He's not just fighting bankruptcy, he's fighting survival. And survival makes people dangerous. The night air of Paris hums with tension. Sofia walks home, hood up, the weight of stays still heavy. A motorcycle slows beside her. Panic seizes her chest. The rider tosses an envelope at her feet and speeds away. Inside, photos. Damien meeting with the creditors in a smoky cafe. The men's faces sharp, his posture desperate. A note scrawled in rough handwriting. He owes us more than diamonds. She rushes to Mark. He studies the photos. Anonymous tip. Could be someone inside his circle. Someone who wants Damien to burn. Or someone warning me, Sofia says. Mark rubs his chin. Either way, it proves motive. Debt, threats, desperation. He framed you to cover his tracks. Sofia stares at the photos. Damien, the man who accused her so coldly, looks terrified. She should feel vindicated. Instead, she feels a strange chill. If Damien is cornered, he might strike harder. Across town, Damien meets Camille in his office. Delete everything. Backups, archives, logs. If there's a copy, burn it. Camille hesitates. Monsieur, that could be obstruction. Do it. Damien snaps. His voice cracks with fear. The courtroom fills again, air thick with anticipation. Damien enters, still polished but paler, lips tight. Sofia sits with Mark, her brother Matteau behind her, clutching his phone like a sword. The prosecutor replays the doctored footage. Damien's lawyer argues. Ms. Laurent is exploiting sympathy. But the truth is simple. She was near the necklace. She took it. Mark rises, calm as a surgeon. The footage is not truth. It is theater. He called a forensic expert who testifies about the splice, the missing keyframes, the re-encoding. The jury leans forward. Then Mark calls Claire. She trembles but speaks. I saw Damien and laugh at moving items without record. He told Camille to prepare the footage. Damien's mask cracks. Lies! He shouts, slamming the table. The judge silences him. The jury exchanges glances. Finally, Mark calls Matteo. The video call plays on the big screen. Sofia laughing, showing the chandelier. Damien's toast in the background. The timestamp matches perfectly. Gasps ripple. The prosecutor fumbles papers. The judge scribbles notes. For the first time, Damien looks cornered. Truly cornered. The courtroom buzzes. The chandelier reflection, the timestamp, the carrier logs, all airtight. Mark paces slowly. My client could not have stolen the necklace. At the exact second the theft supposedly occurred, she was on camera with her brother, witnessed by the chandelier itself. The judge leans forward. Mr. Rousseau, how do you explain this? Damien's lawyer stammers. The footage could have been fabricated. Fabricated. Mark interrupts. Sharp. Then explain the telecom carrier logs, the Wi-Fi server records, the metadata. He slams a folder shut. Facts do not lie. But Mr. Rousseau does. The gallery erupts. Elena Moreau, cane in hand, rises. I told you. I saw Sofia across the room, and I filmed Damien near the case. Would you like to see? Her video plays. Guests laughing. Damien slipping his hand near his briefcase. The reflection on the case catches it. Clear, undeniable. The courtroom explodes with whispers. The judge bangs a gavel. Order. This case has taken a grave turn. The court orders immediate seizure of Rousseau Jeweler security servers. We will reconvene with all evidence. Damien slumps, sweat beading on his forehead. The creditors in the back row exchange knowing looks. Sofia sits taller, the weight of shame lifting. For the first time since the nightmare began, truth isn't just on her side. It's visible to the world. The gallery buzzed like a hive after Lena's video played. The reflection in the glass didn't lie. Damien's hand, not Sofia's, reaching for the velvet pouch. Reporters scribbled furiously. Cameras clicked in defiance of the judge's gavel. Damien's jaw trembled. His perfectly combed hair seemed out of place now, his cufflinks heavy as chains. He hissed at his lawyer. Do something. Fix this. The lawyer stood, sweat on his brow. Your Honor, This is circumstantial. Circumstantial. Mark's voice cracked like a whip. We have an alibi, corroborated by telecom logs, video evidence, and now a direct visual placing Mr. Rousseau at the scene of his own supposed theft. He stepped closer to the jury. What thief accuses an innocent woman? A desperate one. The crowd gasped. Damien slammed his palm on the table. This is outrageous. She was always ambitious. She wanted more than her position. Sofia stood, her voice ringing clear for the first time. I wanted dignity. Something you'll never understand. The judge struck the gavel. Enough. This court will recess. We will seize the boutique servers and reconvene with findings. Mr. Rousseau, you are reminded you are under oath. Damien's composure shattered. His creditors, seated at the back, rose quietly and left the courtroom. But Damien saw their eyes as they passed him, cold promises of reckoning. The penthouse no longer felt like home. It felt like a trap. Damien ripped off his tie, poured whiskey, and paced like a caged animal. The city lights glittered outside, mocking him with their steadiness. Camille, his assistant, entered timidly. Monsieur, the IT team says they can't erase all the backups. The court locked him down. Damien's glass shattered against the wall. Then destroy the drives. Pay someone. Camille shook her head. They are already in police custody. His phone buzzed. A message. Doc 14. Midnight. Last chance. His creditors would not accept excuses. He thought of the necklace he smuggled weeks ago, already pawned, already gone. He had nothing left but his lies, and those were crumbling. Meanwhile, Sofia sat in Mark's office, exhausted but alert. Is unraveling, Mark said, and when men like him unravel, they lash out. Sofia looked down at her trembling hands. He already stole my reputation. What more can he take? Mark's eyes darkened. Your safety. We'll double precautions. Neither of them knew Damien was already plotting his next desperate move. Elena Moreau visited Mark's office, cane tapping rhythmically on the parquet floor. I have more, she said. She handed over her phone. It contained not just a clip from the boutique, but also audio she hadn't noticed before, Damien whispering to Laffit, the head of security. When I signal, trigger the alarm. She'll be the one closest. Mark's eyebrows lifted. This is gold. Sofia's eyes watered. He planned every second. Elena patted her hand. Child, men like Rousseau have always believed the world exists to serve them. But the world is changing. Make sure you finish this fight. The next hearing was scheduled. Word of Elena's recording leaked. Social media exploded. Has justice for Sofia trended across Europe. Influencers who once mocked her now posted apologies. The public tide had turned. Damien saw the storm online and hurled his phone into the Seine from his balcony. But digital fire spreads too fast to be drowned. By now, Sofia was no longer a suspect. She was a symbol. Paparazzi followed her not to shame her, but to cheer. Young women carried signs. We believe you, Sofia. Crowds gathered outside the courthouse. Inside, Mark presented Elena's audio. The jury leaned forward. Damien's lawyer stammered excuses, claiming out-of-context banter, but the judge's stern glare said otherwise. Sofia gave a statement. I never wanted to be famous. I only wanted to be respected, and I will not rest until the truth is fully exposed. Applause erupted from the gallery, silenced quickly by the judge's gavel. Meanwhile, Damien sat hollow, his empire cracking. His creditors sent another message. Tick-tock. He knew the trial was no longer just about law. It was about survival, and survival was slipping away. That night, Damien left the courthouse flanked by cameras. In the shadows, two men followed him into a side alley. You promised value, the taller one said. I'll get it, Damien insisted. The insurance payout. The shorter man's fist slammed into his gut. Damien gasped, crumpling. No more excuses, the taller one said. By week's end, we own you or we end you. They left him wheezing in the alley. His suit was ruined, his pride shredded. For the first time, Damien truly felt fear, not of court, not of Sofia, but of men who kept promises written in blood. At the same time, Mark showed Sofia the creditors linked to Damien's accounts. If we follow this trail, we'll expose not just fraud, but criminal laundering. The court won't just convict him. They'll bury him. Sofia nodded, resolve hardening. Then let's finish what he started. The final blow landed faster than Damien could brace. The seized servers revealed logs of file tampering, manual edits, and false exports, all tied to Damien's credentials. The judge's voice echoed in the hushed courtroom. This court finds Mr. Damien Rousseau guilty of fraud, evidence tampering, defamation, and attempted theft. He is sentenced to prison and fined heavily. Gasps swept the gallery. Cameras flashed like lightning. Sofia's chest loosened for the first time in weeks. She was free. Not just free, vindicated. Damien slumped in his chair. Guards approached, cuffs ready. As they clicked shut, he glanced back at the creditors in the gallery. Their cold eyes promised his sentence wouldn't end with prison walls. For the first time in his gilded life, Damien Rousseau realized he was not feared, not admired, not untouchable. He was finished. Morning breaks over Paris like a soft apology. Outside Rousseau Jewelers, bouquets cluster along the window where headlines once sneered. Notes are taped to the glass. We believe you. Proud of your courage. Justice for Sofia. Sofia stands a few steps back from the door, watching her reflection overlap the displays. The manager, now acting CEO, meets her on the sidewalk with a bowed head. We failed you, he says. On behalf of the company, I'm sorry feel small. We want to make amends. Return, if you'll have us. Senior role, public apology, substantial compensation. Sofia's fingers trace the edge of a sympathy card a little girl thrust into her hand on the way here. She looks past the diamonds to the employees moving quietly inside, the same people who avoided her eyes when the storm hit. She remembers Elena's dry voice. A diamond never forgives. Only humans pretend to. Thank you, Sofia says gently, but I can't come back. The manager blinks, startled. Why? Because what happened to me happens to others, with less proof, less noise, fewer witnesses willing to speak. I want to spend my days stopping the next frame-up, not rearranging the glass around the last one. He nods slowly, as if something heavy clicks into place. Then let us help you begin, Ms. Laurent. By noon, a press conference fills the boutique's marble foyer. Cameras roll as the company reads a formal admission. Rousseau Jewelers publicly apologizes to Ms. Sofia Laurent for the false accusation and commits €2 million to a new legal aid initiative of her choosing. The room exhales. Flashbulbs pop. Mark steps to the microphone. Sofia has chosen to establish the Laurent Foundation, dedicated to free legal defense, digital forensics for workplace claims, and emergency income support for falsely accused employees. Questions rise like birds. A reporter shouts, Sofia, how does it feel to be vindicated? She breathes, like oxygen after weeks underwater. Afterward, Elena squeezes her hand. You kept your dignity when it was most expensive. Spend the rest of your life richly. Sofia laughs through a sudden sting of tears. Outside, the bouquets keep arriving, not for a store, but for a person who refused to bow to a lie. That night, on her tiny balcony, Matteo video calls from Madrid. You're trending in Spanish, French, and Italian, he grins. Mom asked if we should buy popcorn or tissues. Both, Sofia smiles. She leans back, the city a glittering tide. For the first time in weeks, the silence is kind. The Laurent Foundation opens in a light-drenched floor of a modest Haussmann building near République. No marble, no chandelier, just long tables, humming laptops, a whiteboard webbed with case timelines, and a wall of second-hand frames waiting for success stories. Mark tours the space with her. We'll need triage, intake, evidence, forensics, litigation partners. And we must teach people how to preserve proof, screenshots, timestamps, raw files. Sofia nods. We'll run free workshops. Know your metadata. Don't sign without counsel. How to ask for CCTV properly. They hire a digital forensics lead, Amaya Leclerc, an ex-cybercrimes analyst who speaks in exact verbs. They add a social worker, Hugo, who knows which landlords show mercy and which don't, Because innocence doesn't pay rent. Claire, brave, shaking Claire, walks in with a resume and a quiet plea. I'd like to help. I'm between jobs. You're home, Sofia says, hugging her. Cases pour in. A hotel maid accused of stealing a guest watch. Amaya dissects the timestamp and finds a gap. A cashier blamed for register shortages. Hugo uncovers a manager skimming voids. A warehouse worker fired over inventory loss. Mark subpoenas access logs and finds a supervisor using his key at night. Success breeds noise. Media request stack. Sofia declines most, choosing to feature clients instead. When she does speak, she's measured, almost surgical. This isn't a story about one boutique. It's about power and narrative. Whoever controls the footage controls the frame, unless people learn to check the frame. A month in, her inbox pings with a message that chills and steals her at once. From Camille, former assistant. I kept a private backup. Damien made me export edits. I want to help others before I disappear from all of this. Sofia meets Camille at a quiet canal. Camille hands over an encrypted drive. He told me erasing things was loyalty. I thought, if I kept one copy, someday it might be mercy. Her voice wobbles. For you, it was. Sofia squeezes her hand. Now let's make it mercy for 1,000 more. That evening, the Foundation's website goes live. Clean, simple, multilingual. A single line at the top reads, Belief is kind. Evidence saves. Prison is an ecosystem where illusions die quickly. Damien enters in a suit he can't keep and a name that has lost its echo. The first lesson arrives before lights out. No one cares that he once shook hands with ministers. The second follows at dawn. The schedule owns him. He files appeals. They fail. His assets? Frozen, then sold. His penthouse? Auctioned. His tailored suits? Boxed and inventoried like artifact of a fallen house. The creditors do not send flowers, but they do send word. We collect in every currency. On visiting day, the taller creditor sits across from him behind reinforced glass. No threats now, only arithmetic. You owed 12.4 million euros. We recovered 8.7 through the auction and insurance subrogation. The balance stands. Damien swallows. I have nothing left. The man smiles without warmth. You have years. The line clicks dead. Back in the yard, Damien learns humility under sky that refuses to look away. He tries to rewrite the story to himself. It was panic. It was pressure. It was anything but choice. But choice repeats through his memory like a tolling bell. When I signal, trigger the alarm. He hears his own whisper on Elena's recording and feels sick with the cheapness of it. In his cell, a small TV glows blue. A news segment plays. The Laurent Foundation wins an injunction for a factory worker in Lyon, forcing the company to reinstate him with back pay after CCTV errors crumble under forensic review. The camera cuts to Sofia, hair tucked back, eyes steady. A guard pauses at the door. That the woman you tried to bury, he asks, not unkindly. Damien doesn't answer. The TV shows a photo of the co-eternal. It no longer looks like salvation. It looks like a mirror reflecting everything he refused to see. At night, sleep won't come. He watches the rectangle of moonlight creep across the concrete and realizes this is the first true accountability he has ever known. The silence inside it is vast and unforgiving. The studio is cool and bright, a cathedral of glass and light. A global current affairs program has flown Sofia in for a prime-time special, framed, fought, and freed. The producer clips a MIC to her collar. She glances at the city through the window, another skyline, another room that once would have terrified her. Now it's just a room with chairs. The host smiles warmly. Sofia, the world watched your case like a series. But real life is not television. What did it feel like to be the villain in other people's story, and then take your story back? Sofia doesn't rush. Lonely, she says, and loud. Lies are loud, but the truth is patient. You have to survive long enough to let it speak. They talk about the foundation, about metadata literacy, about why she turned down the job at Rousseau. They talk about Elena, who's watching at home with her granddaughter and a celebratory tart. They talk about Claire's courage, Amaya's rigor, Hugo's kindness, Mark's precise faith in facts. Then the host leans in. If you could send one sentence back through time to the moment you were handcuffed, what would you say to yourself, to everyone watching, to the man who accused you? Sofia looked straight into the lens, the same way she looked into a phone camera under a chandelier, the same way millions of viewers will feel she is looking at them now. I'd say, she answers softly, he accused me of stealing diamonds. She lets the words hang until the room leaned forward. But the truth bankrupted him. Silence, then a swell applause in the studio, goosebumps through living rooms, the involuntary gasp of a line that lands and stays. The clip will ripple across languages before midnight, turning into captions, stitches, reaction videos, and quiet text to friends in trouble. Watch this. Remember this. After the camera is cut, the host squeezes her hand. That sentence will outlive the show. Sofia smiles. Good. Then maybe it will protect someone I'll never meet. Outside, the night is tender. She walks with Mark toward the curb. No rush, the day complete. A woman stops them, breathless. My nephew, she says, was accused at work. We used your guide. He kept his job. Thank you. Sofia's eyes shine. Tell him to pay it forward. They turn onto the street. Paris, London, Madrid. Cities rhyme when you've learned to walk in them unafraid. In an office a few blocks away, Amaya's uploading a new toolkit, how to freeze footage before it gets edited. In a small apartment, Claire adds a line to the foundation website. We believe you. Now, let's prove it. And in a quiet cell, a man who once mistook welfare stares at the ceiling and finally understands the difference. The last shot, if this was cinema, would be a reflection again. Not a jewel this time, but a window, with Sofia's silhouette passing through a city that now reflects her back truthfully. The frame holds, then fades, as the audience sits a moment longer, not just entertained but steadied by a story that ended the way real justice should, with a lie paying its own price.